Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well. Today, we have another transfer update video for all you guys, and we're also going to be doing a bit of tactical breakdown of that fantastic win at the Etihad Stadium yesterday afternoon on 12:30 kickoff, 2-0 to the Tottenham boys. It was a fantastic afternoon, professional, clinical, Thomas Frank ball at its finest. We're up and running. We are joint first with a certain other club across the other end of North London to us, but absolutely buzzing with the start. 6 points from 6. And I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed that win as well. Make sure when you're coming in, you're watching on repeat, you're smashing the like, you're smashing the thumbs up, you're smashing the subscribe, all free to do so. And you're turning on the notification bell to never miss us going live, which is also free to do so as well. We have also got the option of a super chat. If you want to skip the queue, create a talking point, super chat option is down below in the live chat. Plus, membership options are available, I think as cheap as £2 if you want to come on and have your say at any point. Basically now, if you become a member, you can come on any single stream pretty much and have your say and come and share the show with us. So yeah, membership option below in the description. But enough of that plugging, the likes and everything else, which I have to do. I'm joined alongside Thomas Frank's AI son, which is, of course, Frank Thomas. Frank, how are you doing, mate? You still buzzing after that win?
I am. It was, I mean, I spoke to you behind the scenes where I think it was probably one of the better Tottenham performances I've seen in the last couple of years. I'd go as far as saying since probably Pochettino left, we were superb. So, yeah, a lot to break down, a lot to be excited about. Yeah, all good, all happy.
Love it, mate. Love it. Yeah, I think it was one of the better performances for sure in the last few years. I'd just say it was very professional, very exciting to be a Tottenham fan right now, especially if we do get some signings, which we're going to update you on. But people are already putting their comments in the chat. Make sure you're whacking your comments in. And of course, I like to do the engagement pieces to keep you guys busy with the chat as well. So I'm going to go through and introduce a few people in the chat. If you want to have your comment put up, make sure you're smashing the like, smashing the chat. And got N17 Stu, always in here, Stu. Big up yourself, mate. He's saying, what a weekend. It has been a good weekend. It has been a good weekend. Spurs side chat. Spurs have agreed terms with Savinho for a 5-year deal, apparently, plus extra option. Just have to agree to fee. Odds of happening 8 out of 10. Is this the guy that was in the no last time, Frank, or is that a different guy?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay, so maybe this guy, he told us about some certain things to do with a certain player we don't mention on the channel anymore. Yeah. Iron Army, it's back in here. It's been a while, Iron Army. Hope you're doing well, mate. He's saying, COYS, hope you're doing well, my friend. Very much a Spurs relatable legend, in fact. Exodus is saying, following from Monvoria, Liberia. Wow, we have fans all across the world, Frank. We really do. Big up yourself, mate. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Hope you're well. Ryan saying no to Paqueta. I don't want Paqueta. Well, we're getting to things about Lucas Paqueta and I guess a little bit of links towards him. Maybe that's going to hot up in the next few days. I remember something happening with similarly with Paulinho that came out from a similar sort of tier 2-3 source, and then things escalated pretty quickly. And of course, we got him out on loan. So, you know, maybe it can really spruce up a little bit. A1 Synergy saying, good evening, lads. Good evening, mate. You're always in the chat. One of the few that are, I say few, lots of you guys supporting the channel every single stream. Really appreciate it. He's saying he will get in trouble and we will lose the money. I think you're talking about Paqueta and the betting scandal, potentially. Darren Sachs is in the house. Big up, Darren. Thanks for joining, mate. There's a lot of comments. Lucas is saying, watching and pushing. Yeah, that's all it seems to be, like developing, pushing on. Let's see. We'll bring you all the latest, though, guys. Hold on tight. Ryan's saying, believe it when he is wearing the shirt. Well, like I said, mate, Paqueta isn't like concrete. It's like getting closer, but it's sort of interest again, you know, new names, links, that sort of thing. Darren saying, come on, you Spurs. Johnny saying, oh, you're a legend yourself, mate. And Toby Tottenham saying, hi, lads. Big up, Toby. Gary on Facebook, always in here as well. Lads, 8 days to go. Surely we're getting a 10 and a left winger. Can't see West Ham selling another to us. Yeah, would be interesting. And Henry's saying it's a smoke screen. Well, we are going to get into things. If you are just joining us, first engagement piece of the session. I need a little like segment that's like a little video, like Sean has. It's like engagement piece. Number one, if you would prioritize Savinho for the rest of the window. Number two, if it's someone else, and if it is number two, you got to tell me in the comments who you're prioritizing. I've heard Paqueta, I've heard Lookman, I've heard Paz. There's a few names out there. Nico Paz has just got a goal for Como against Lazio. They're 2-0 up, and he's playing at a 9 rating. I think he got an assist as well. Nico Paz, he's doing very well in this area. Could he come over and do well in the Premier League? But enough of me talking, Frank, because I feel like I haven't let you in here on this discussion. Let's start things off. Let's talk about the latest from Spurs Journo, one of the in the knows, and guys, a little disclaimer. That doesn't necessarily mean this is concrete. This is just what's out there in the media right now. And a lot of people are saying Savinho. Interesting. If you're watching a repeat, let me know as well. But about Savinho, Nico Paz and Savinho remain Spurs' priority targets, apparently. Reports of several alternative targets, such as Bilal El Khanous, also being discussed internally are true. And as a deal for Nico Paz, looks increasingly complicated, probably more complicated than when you made that slide, Frank, considering he's absolutely smashing it for Como and they're beating Lazio, who are, let's be honest, pretty big team in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, I would like Savinho is my number one for starters. Savinho is my top target, and I think he should be the priority for the rest of the window. Again, all in the know speculation, of course. So it's very hard to really judge what is true and what isn't. But there's another one that I follow, who's at THFC, Will, who's usually pretty good. Someone that I've spoken to through social media for quite a while and seems to be relatively reliable. He seems to think that Nico Paz is one that's being accelerated in the coming days. So it's something that I can certainly get behind if it's true. It's something I can certainly get behind. Savinho, as I say, is my priority, but I think they need a 10 and a left winger. Although watching yesterday made me think that a left winger was actually more of a priority of the two, when I always thought it was probably a 10. So that's kind of where I'm at with the last 8 days of the window. Savinho, I think, ups our level. I think Savinho has such a high ceiling that he takes Tottenham up a level just by coming through the door, to be honest. He's got a point to prove. He's got the World Cup to want to be part of. And so I think he's one that I think Tottenham should be all over. And my kind of thing is with it, if Tottenham think he's worth 65, then he's probably worth 75. That difference of 10 million, I understand 10 million is a lot of money and whatever, but if he's worth 65, 70, he's worth 75, 80. And that's, it's we're talking small margins for a top club. So if they think he's that worth it at 70 is my point. So I think this will get done. I hope it gets done. I would kind of think that it was being held off until we played City and then it will speed up. I would like to hope that he's going to be a Tottenham player at some point this week. In terms of El Khanous, one I really like. He's probably my number one target for the 10 role, actually. I'd say
El Khanous.
El Khanous, yeah.
He's your number one target for the 10.
I think so.
Oh, I don't agree, Frank. I don't agree. Go on, tell me why. Tell me why.
I've tried to sort of do my homework in a minute. But I liked him at points last year. I probably didn't watch enough of Leicester. I'm not going to sit and pretend I did. But having tried to sort of do a bit of homework on him as well in the last sort of couple of weeks, I think he's a top player. I think he carries the ball well. I think he's technically, as a dribbler as well, one of the better ones in the Premier League. Probably went slightly under the radar because of the team he was playing in, a little bit like Tyler Diblin. I think Diblin probably got a little bit more mentioned because Southampton was so bad, and he was a real shining light in that. And obviously coming through, and young English sort of player, obviously it feels like a lot of the English players tend to get more media attention anyway. So I think he'd be a really top player. Paz, I don't see Daniel Levy spending 60 million on him coming from abroad as a young kid. I don't think that's the sort of thing that Daniel Levy does. I think it's a risk. And so for that reason, I don't see it happening. I'm not saying it won't, but I don't see it happening for that reason. But El Khanous, available for £30 million. Obviously, in the Championship, you could get, and they've got a good connection with Leicester. They've obviously sent some players there in the past. It wouldn't shock me if they loaned out. Maybe obviously Vuskovic looks like he's going to be going to Germany, but they've still got Takai there or whatever. I wonder if maybe they might look to loan Dane Scarlett as well to Leicester in some sort of deal. So El Khanous would be one that I think could well happen along with Savinho.
I like Savinho. I want Savinho to happen. It depends if City are going to completely take the mick, but then a lot of people in the chat would argue, who cares what we pay at this point? We've bottled Morgan Gibbs-White, which I feel a lot of it wasn't our fault. It was that absolute melt of an owner at Nottingham Forest. The Eze stuff, a lot of that is to do with his choice, but I'd say majority is to do with our lack of getting deals over the line, sorting out the fees, the add-ons, the bonuses. But for me, I think the fan base is going to explode if we go from talking about a Morgan Gibbs-White at the 10 or a Eze to El Khanous. I personally think there's levels, and I'm not saying El Khanous is a bad player. I just worry that he comes in and technically he's a lower end of the Premier League sort of class of player, in my opinion. Maybe you think I'm wrong, Frank. I don't think El Khanous is the type of player that can play in the Champions League. I don't think he's that caliber. Personally, I would be interested to know what the chat think, because I feel differently. We normally agree, Frank, but I don't agree with El Khanous. I think there's better options. However, I think because we've messed around for so long, the options have become so slim. You're talking about El Khanous as one of the better options. And without going off on a rant, we've sort of missed the race to get a good 10 in a way. And any of these are going to be a gamble. Any of these. Nico Paz would be a gamble if we could manage to do it. El Khanous would be a gamble. Morgan Rogers, these names now are like, you're thinking, not sure on this. I personally was thinking of one. I was going to make the point on Sean's show earlier. What's happening with Marco Asensio? Because he was so good at Aston Villa last season. And I feel like he's Premier League proven. He's European proven. He's a winner. He's experienced. What's the status with him? Maybe you're going to shut me down and tell me he's not available, because I'd go for someone like him.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly an option. Probably one that I haven't thought about enough. As we kind of said on Sean's channel, that I think loans are going to be something that are really, really common now in the next week and through January because of the World Cup. People want to be playing, and if they can't get certain deals, they will go on loan. It would not shock me in the slightest if they go for Rodrigo on loan, if he is to leave Manchester City and they don't get Savinho. Sorry, if he's to leave Real Madrid and he doesn't, if we don't get Savinho, I mean, he doesn't go there. Just because he needs to be playing. I know he's starting today for Madrid, but whether or not it's going to continue is a different argument. And it's the sort of thing that I could see Spurs doing just for a year. It makes it look like they've made this statement signing that people sort of long for. So that's one I could certainly see. Asensio is one that, it would certainly be in contention. I think he wants people that work hard, that are runners, that will track back, as we've seen. And I think El Khanous can do that. I think that's probably why he's up there. One thing I quite like about him is, and he is only young, but he's played in each and every one of the European competitions, i.e. the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League already. He's played in all three for Genk at a young age. Not a massive amount, but he's played enough in each of them to kind of know the severity of the situations that you're in at that level. So for me, given the price as well, I think he's a no-brainer. I understand.
Sorry, Fat. How much are you saying we could get? How much are you saying we could get him for from Leicester?
I think it'd be 25-30.
Really? How long has he got left in his contract?
Well, he had a release clause of 25 until recently, and I think Palace looked to sort of nearly agree at 30 odd. So I think it'll be around that sort of price.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I get the point that Eze, you go from Eze and Gibbs-White and Rogers even to El Khanous, and I think El Khanous is a talent that would probably shift that mentality where if he came in. I think that, put it this way, that there are a lot of people that be saying right now, and this is not you at all, but there's a lot of people be saying right now that they want Nico Paz, but don't want El Khanous. And I think they're probably at a similar sort of level. You can argue that El Khanous slightly further ahead, having played in the Premier League, and maybe it's a slightly more intense league. So I'm kind of split on who I want, but I think El Khanous is probably my number one. Something about him excites me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he's up there for me.
Interesting. We've only been going 15 minutes and we've had a disagreement. That's very rare. There's around about 100 of you on YouTube and Facebook at the moment. I'm sure the numbers will continue to grow. Some of you watching on repeat. Next engagement piece, number 1 for El Canus. Number 2 in the chat for Nico Paz or someone else. And if it's someone else as the 10, let us know in the comments as well. And while you're in the comments, there's 16 likes on this video and there's 100 of you watching. Surely we can get up to 50 at the very least. And make sure you're smashing subscribe, smashing the noti bell on. We are 40 subscribers now away from 4,000, our next milestone. And we'd love to keep bringing you live daily content, live streams, videos, vlogs, tactical analysis, breakdowns. It's all coming here. So make sure you are supporting the channel. I'm going to catch up with the chat, Frank, and then we're going to talk about Paqueta. And we're going to talk about potential lineups and also about the City game yesterday as well. And maybe a bit about Nico Paz. Obviously, just scored and got an assist for Como. Last time I checked, maybe he scored again. I mean, the guy's on fire. But I am going to catch up on the chat and I'm going to have to remember what I said about 1 and 2. I said 1 El Canus, 2 Paz or someone else. But let's catch up. So, I'm saying I think Paz is definitely the best option in terms of a 10, but definitely wouldn't be surprised if it's the hardest, especially with the growing fee and the involvement of Real Madrid. Very true. A Real Madrid youth product that is make him sound like he's on the shelf. Real Madrid youth player that was very, very much highly tipped to be very good. Levy loves impossible transfers and players who don't want to play for us, says Lucas. Love this profile picture. I always judge people's profile pictures. Not judge, but I like to comment on them. Zeddy's saying, spot on. People moaning about a small potential overpay when we're in our current situation. Yeah, exactly that. Bilal El Canus is good, but I just don't see him being a player that will massively change. I think Ainami's in the James camp. But massively challenging players like Kulu and Matters when they return, but compared to Paz, definitely more realistic. Would love Paz, but El Canus is also a great option. A1 Synergy saying, I think Paz prefers the chance of getting to Madrid in the next year or two. Henry saying City are stringing us along with the Savinho stuff. We don't beat City with Eze's second-rate press in the 10. Asthma settings. Brilliant. We need Rogers, says Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman, hope you're good, mate. El Canus will be a much better signing than Asensio. Okay, we've got debates going on. Spot on, Frank. People want the sexy foreign names. Oh, well, less said the better on that one. Luke's saying 2. So this is Paz, 1 or 2, Paz, 1, El Canus. I can't see Paz happening, but I prefer El Canus. And who else we got? Paul G's in here, even and all. The numbers are growing. Make sure you're smashing the like. I know I won't keep saying it. I promise I won't keep just saying smash the like. We're bringing you content as well. Darren Fearon saying, I did say Man City defence is weak and we did not sit back into a low block the last 10 minutes. We maintained a mid block. I think you're spot on. The way we managed that game was a tactical masterclass for me. It was really, really good, Darren. And we're going to break it down for you a little bit more with the tactics board. So let us know if you want to see that. Brian saying 2, Nico Paz, but I think Real Madrid's involvement is going to block the deal, especially since they can get him back for peanuts. KB's in the house saying there will be no signings. It shouldn't take this long. We are being played. Mate, I'm also growing a bit like, what we got here? 8 days, Frank? 8 days left? I mean, it's like, yeah. Where are the signings? What are we doing here? Bilal El Canus, Beck. I like that. Beck. Maybe he's grown on me just for his abbreviation. Is a good option, to be honest, but we need Savinho and Rogers. Morgan Rogers. Bit of chatting about Morgan Rogers in the chat. Other clubs sign players within hours. Spurs are interested. I know we're edging closer. We're interested. We're pushing forward, but we never seem to see the implications from that. Anyway, keep putting your comments in, guys. Keep smashing the support. Really appreciate all of you in the house, especially on a Sunday evening when I'm sure a lot of you are having barbecues and roast dinners and whatever else. Make myself hungry. I haven't had any dinner. Right. Paqueta is one we're now going to talk about. Lucas Paqueta. Tottenham are showing an interest in Lucas Paqueta, with Thomas Frank said to be desperate to add some vision and creativity to his squad. This is according to Court Offside. Frank, handing over to you. What do we think? Do we think this is true? Do we think Lucas Paqueta could be an option? And what's your thoughts on Paqueta? And guys, let us know in the chat.
I think he offers you the ability to be able to play as an 8 as well, first of all, which I like. You've got that sort of versatility that you can play as an 8, you can play as a 10, that he can play a little bit deeper. I do like. I think he's good enough on the ball. I think he's, technically a good player. I think he's got some flair. That's that part of it. On the flip side, I'm not totally convinced. I think it depends on the price. If we're looking at between 35 and maybe 45 at a max, then I'm quite content with that if they were to get this done. I think he offers you something to the squad. Obviously, he wants to be part of that Brazil team next year. He is a Brazil international. So he's got that experience under his belt. He's played in the Champions League for Lyon. So there's enough to sit there and go, that would be a great signing. And I would take him for those reasons. I just think we need to, they have to do their I can't say the word, due diligence properly on him and make sure that all the background stuff has gone. I'm sure it probably has, but you'd like to hope at least they know more than we do because it's their job. So I mean, I would be up for this deal. I wouldn't be blown away, as I say. I'd probably rather El Kanous at a similar price point, but it's certainly one that I would be pretty pleased with. Having said that, do I see a world where West Ham sell? I didn't see a world where West Ham sold one player to Tottenham in the transfer window, let alone 2 in the same summer. And given their poor start to the league, I think there would be it would go mental at West Ham if they conceded 8 in the first 2 games and they've sold 2 of their best, probably 3 players to Tottenham. I mean, there would be meltdown there. So I would be surprised if this one went through. I wouldn't be against it. I would be probably 70-30 in favour of it. Put it that way.
Interesting stuff, mate. Yeah, I think there's no denying that Paqueta is a top player. He's probably West Ham's best player now. We've taken the best player in Kudus, haven't we? But no, I mean, I think it's going to be difficult, given that if they sold us Paqueta, I think just from the basis of the fact that West Ham have a bit of a thing with the ownership, don't they? Like us, where they're not happy with their owners, and I think if they sold Paqueta to Tottenham, all hell would break loose. Absolutely all hell would break loose. But in terms of a player and in terms of forgetting the whole rivalry thing and if it could or could not happen, I think he would be a very good player at Tottenham because he could play in the 8, he could play in the 10. He's very creative. Like you said, I get the whole thing overshadowing him, the politics behind that, but he is a class player. We saw his class against Chelsea, although they got absolutely thumped 5-1. And Friday Night Football, he scored an absolute belter, didn't he, to put them 1-0 up. I've just put in the chat on YouTube, if you're watching, Paqueta, yes, bring or no. And at the moment, it's 70-30 to yes, we would take Paqueta. So interesting stuff. But it's edging towards a yes. I think, to be honest, the fact that we could get him and the fact that it would just be so rent free, it'd be interesting. No, sorry, going for Morgan gives White and Eze to Paqueta. That's not a signing we need. Do you agree with Abdul Rahman? Let us know in the chat. Levy can get us to buy Lucas Paqueta by getting David Sullivan drunk. What, on the red wine with him and Vinay as well, isn't it? They love a bit of red wine together. I mean, what is going on there? Paqueta is exactly what we need. He will cook at Spurs, says In Spurs We Trust. Can't see Paqueta coming. I don't think West Ham will give us both. And Paqueta is a sub player, not a starter for Spurs. Frank, do you think he gets into the 11, Paqueta?
For certain games, yeah. For certain games. I mean, we saw yesterday, I think it'll be something we'll come on to the tactics board in a minute, but we saw yesterday that this team is going to... This is why you need depth, because for certain games, certain things are going to work. Against Burnley last week, all day long. He gets in that team, he starts over a Sarr or over a Bentancur, and I know they've both been brilliant, but he gets into that team because you probably need a slightly more creative mind in there to just get about, and someone that is, I don't really know how to put it, but someone that's out of nothing could create a spark like he did it on Friday night for West Ham. I know they got beat, but just hit one out of nowhere and they go ahead. So that I think would I think that would be a good thing for those sorts of games. And it's going to be a lot of games like that, by the way, because Tottenham are going to be a team that, if you go away to Tottenham, most teams are probably going to sit quite deep, right? I would go as far as saying maybe 12 or 13 teams out of the other 19 in the league are probably going to sit relatively deep at Tottenham. Not always in a real low block, but deeper. So you need players to break these guys down. And Kudus is one of those. Savinho would be one of those. And Paqueta would certainly be one of those. Having said that, having Pape Sarr, Bentancur and Palhinha allows the likes of Porro to be more creative and gives them more freedom. Having Palhinha in there allows Sarr and Bentancur to be more creative, certainly Pape Sarr, and do more running or whatever. So I think for games like last week, like we saw, a 10 is really necessary. I think for games like what we saw yesterday, less so. I mean, when you play these big teams, obviously some you might need him, but I think what Paqueta would offer you is, I think he's tough. He's a dribbler. He can play deeper, as I say. So I think Paqueta would suit for against playing the bigger teams as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't think a 10 is as much of a priority as I did having watched yesterday, because I think that you can, in certain games, by having a Palhinha in there, it allows others a bit more freedom, a bit more time or a bit more of a chance on the ball to be able to create things. So then you allow Porro to be more of a threat. You allow, when I think you dodgy, as he is probably more of a wing back, to be more of a threat. You allow the wingers to be more of a threat. And I think that's probably why I think Johnson had his best game in a while, actually, yesterday. I think that probably all stems from that the midfielders get a bit more freedom, and then the wingers have more, are being fed more the ball. So I'd be up for Paqueta. I think we probably do need a 10. I don't think it's as much of a priority though now as Savinho is in my eyes.
The only argument I'd have for that is we play a different system. Although we weren't playing a 5 at the back yesterday, I feel like we play very differently we have done against PSG and City as we did against Burnley. It was a very different setup, and I think I get what you're saying. I think Paqueta would work you're saying it would work in a game like yesterday, but then also with the 10, I think for games where we need to break down a low block, we need that creativity, we need that spark to be able to create some passing lanes and create some magic. We had that with Maddison when we played the lower opposition. I remember actually Maddison had a very good game at the start of the Ange era, away at Burnley, probably the best I think he's probably played in a Tottenham shirt. That kind of game is where you need someone to be able to unlock a defense. And at the moment, I worry that we haven't got the creativity in that team to be able to do that. And at the moment, we're very reliant on the wingers. So we try and find Kudus to take the ball down, use his strength, beat his man, and then put in something. We need to play differently against different teams and also not become stale. Because don't forget, under Ange, we got sussed out very quickly. Thomas Frank, in my opinion, will be more tactically adaptable than Ange was, but we need to be able to give him tools to be able to do that and come up with plan B, plan C, etc. And so that's why I would argue with you there, Frank, and say actually I think we do need a 10. I think as much as a left winger, but maybe a little bit more. But guys, let me know what you think in the chat. Do you think a number 10 is more important, or do you think a left winger? Do you agree with Frank? Do you agree with me? I mean, we're battling a bit today, Frank. We're battling a bit. Listen, we'll put up a little, that's the engagement piece with the 100 and so watching. 10, well, there's no point doing numbers here. 10 or left wing. A1 Synergy saying, I love Pape Sarr. I do as well. What a play. He covers so much ground. He's like our version of N'Golo Kante, I think, but he's actually just technically brilliant as well. I mean, so was Kante. Paz got an assist and scored from a free kick. Says in Spurs we trust. Roy Park saying we should really look at Lookman and Paz, although we will have to overpay for Paz. He has the higher ceiling. A1 saying, dare I say it, but Pape's constant press somewhat makes up for the lack of creativity, what he lacks in creativity. So I think he may have to side. I may have to side with Frank there. Okay, fair enough. Papa's SAR has gone up a level, says Darren, and in Spurs we trust thinks, and number 10 is most important. Guys, let us know, number 10 or a left winger. But food for thought. I don't agree with this, by the way, Frank. This slide you've put in here with Kudus surely on the right and Savinho on the left, right? But are we saying that if we got in Paqueta, this is like someone doing like a West Ham and Spurs 11, isn't it? Like, what's going on here? But Palinha, where does Bentancur? I just think with Bentancur playing so well, him and Palinha, it's just so good in front of that back line. I think for me, I don't know, Frank. What are you thinking? Because I don't personally. I think Richarlison goes up front instead of Solanke and the way he's playing. Udogie, obviously, when he comes back, does he get an over Spence? Arguably not. What do you think?
I think, first of all, I think this is more of just a talking point piece. I would probably have to agree. I mean, obviously, the wingers would twitch. Bentancur, I think, is... I mean, I love Bentancur, and I've made that very obvious on here, that I think he's starting to get back to that level now that we saw before the injury. This is the best he's looking now. And providing he stays fit, I think he's probably going to keep going up a level. And that's really exciting. So, yeah, I mean, you dodgy Spence. I think that's down to the game you play. I think if we play, I think what I like about Spence playing left back, and I've been a little bit critical of it at times. Nothing against him, but I just don't agree sometimes with playing a right back at left back. But what it does give you is a lot of wingers cut in now. Very few wingers go around the outside. That when you play a Liverpool and Mo Salah's on the right and he goes to cut in, Jed Spence goes with him, and that's quite a big thing. We saw. I mean, Salah scored against us at Anfield last year. I can't think of one. Maybe he got a couple more. But there was one in the one where they won the title where he just skins Udogie. Udogie just let him in on his left foot. And that's something that Spence wouldn't allow to happen. So for that reason, I think that's going to be game dependent. I think a lot of it's game dependent. I think we want to build a squad where, a bit like Manchester City, you don't really know who's going to start. Apart from probably the centre-halves and the goalkeeper and probably Palinha, sorry. You don't really know who's going to start because you're going to build around it because you have a competitive enough squad, and I think that's important. So I think we'll get into the sort of the left winger attacking midfielder debate again shortly, but I think bringing in a Paqueta or a 10 type allows you again freedom to switch up and try different things. There was the comment about Pape's constant press, and I think they asked Thomas Frank that yesterday. It was a Jurgen Klopp quote. It was something about that. I can't remember the quote word for word, but it was something about how a counter press or whatever is almost more effective than having a creative midfielder. And that constant running and that constant, he's a pest to play against. He's such a pain to play against. And don't get me wrong, him, Bentancur, and Palinha are all good enough passers, right? Maybe they're not Eze, they're not James Maddison, they're not Paqueta, but they're good enough passers, right? So these guys, if they're going to be working as hard as they are, they're winning the ball back, and you're feeding it down both lines. I mean, that's the problem I think we're dealing with at the moment. Is right now it's pretty much only Kudus. Odobert tried to do it a little bit yesterday. Johnson doesn't really go at people, so right now you're going down the right hand side, and eventually that will become easy to defend against. As great as Kudus is, they'll double up on him, right? And certain teams, when you play a low block, will double up on him. Fine. If you have both on both sides, they can double up both sides. Wonderful, but there will be more space in the middle, and that's when the likes of Pape Sarr, who does not stop running, is going to be a threat. Getting in late into the box, loves doing that. That's where having a 10, of course, would be beneficial. But Bentancur, Sarr, and Bergvall are all really good at getting into the box late and running in late, a bit like Dele used to, what Lampard thrived off. They're all good at doing that. So I think having those wingers allows others freedom as well. I think that's why you need a winger on both sides. But yeah, I mean that team probably or definitely has some things that you could switch up, game dependent.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I think your point at the end about needing a threat on the left as well as the right. I feel like we're going to become too predictable if we keep aiming for Mohamed Kudus. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going for Mohamed Kudus, he's bringing the ball down. He's going to try and beat his man and whip it into Richarlison for a header, or maybe he's trying to cut inside or whatever. You need that on the left as well, and that's why you could argue an Ademola Lookman would be a good option, because he's quite similar to Kudus in the fact that he's strong, he's quick, he can beat his man. Just throwing it out there. Savinho, slightly different mold to Kudus, but yeah, you could argue that the left winger could be important, and I do understand your point for sure. Guys, let's move things on to talking a bit more about the game yesterday. Well, I say about yesterday, but Nico Paz obviously is the other link that we were going to briefly talk about. I feel like we have. I'm just going to check how he ended up, because I'm pretty sure he got man of the match for Como just now. I've just typed in Nico Paz, not Como. Yeah, they won 2-0 against Lazio. He got a free kick goal. They look like they battered Lazio, by the way. They look like they absolutely battered it. It says only João Neves is younger than Nico Paz among midfielders who have provided more than 5 assists from the beginning of the last Big 5 European League season. Wow. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and apparently also Nico Paz is the midfielder with the most assists in Serie A in the calendar year of 2025 overall. Only Aaron Martin has provided more in the league during that period. I don't even know who Aaron Martin is, I'm going to be honest.
No.
Como, yeah, that's just about Como. So lot of praise for Nico Paz. Interesting stuff. And I believe he got the assist for the goal as well. So yeah, I mean, he's wow. Alvaro Morata plays for them as well. Anyway, we're waffling now, but Nico Paz is someone that a lot of people are talking about that could be an option. Only 20 years of age, very good numbers last season. What's your thoughts on him, mate? Why El Canus over Nico Paz for you? Because I think it's quite split. From what I've seen, I think Nico Paz is more exciting and probably has the higher ceiling, but maybe El Canus is more ready, as you were alluding to earlier.
I'll give you the honest answer, and I don't want to seem like an idiot. I don't watch Italian football very often, so very little. So I don't know enough about Nico Paz, other than kind of highlight reels and whatever. And I've seen plenty of players in the past that have looked fantastic in highlight reels and then become whatever. So that's not. There are a few things that I do like about him with my little knowledge. The fact that he was at Real Madrid in the first place, I know they got rid of him, but the fact he was at Real Madrid in the first place is always a good sign, because they tend to pick up high quality level players, right? Mm-hmm. These big clubs tend to. We got Romero, Kulu, and Bentancur from Juve. Obviously, Paulinho's just been at Bayern. I mean, bar probably Emerson and Reguilon, who are probably the exceptions to that rule. These big clubs tend to bring in a good quality of player. So, like Odegaard got sold, right? I'm not Odegaard's biggest fan, but he's a high level of footballer, and I think Paz would probably be that as well. The ceilings are probably as high as each other. I don't know enough, as I say. I think it comes down to the fact that I think if you get Paz, you don't get Savinho. Whereas I think you could get El Canus and Savinho. And I think there's the comment there. I think Savinho is such a great opportunity and probably of a higher level than the 10s that we could pick up. And so I think that should be the priority to bring in the best quality. They're not going to spend 130 million on those two or whatever it would cost, or 140 million. So they could well spend another 80 or 90 and go and get Savinho and El Canus. That wouldn't be a shock. So I think that's probably where my thought process goes.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just going to share my screen quickly and bring up a bit more about Nico Paz. Sorry, I think I'm lagging a little bit. But I think I agree to an extent, but I get what you're saying about the money. But let's have a look. That's the one. There we go. Here we go. So he can play attacking midfield. He can play on the right. He can play centre mid. He can play centre forward. In terms of his numbers, you're looking at 25 games, 5 goals, 6 assists, and I think it's pretty impressive, to be honest with you, Frank. I just think, for me, also his youth record is very, very good. And although you could say, well, that's not Premier League, he's clearly a talent, right? He's clearly a very good talent. 7 goals, 10 assists for Como. Go on, mate.
I was going to say, of course, I think, as I say, I think the opportunity is too big with Savinho that if it means that we can't get him by signing Paz, as great as Paz could be, I think that Savinho ceiling is so high that I think you have to get him in. I think he'd be, I think he'd be too good of a signing for Tottenham. So I think they have to get him in. If they wanted to get both, I'm all here for it. I mean, that would be unbelievable. Knowing Daniel Levy, knowing Tottenham Hotspur, I very much doubt that will be the case. And so Kanous at 30 probably seems like a good one to go alongside, because I think you're getting a good player who's a good enough value. And I think Paz sadly will probably cost too much, as the comment there, because Madrid have that buyback. So they're probably going to have to overpay, unless they kind of go down the route that they did with Romero, which is where they loaned him in, gave Como a 20 million loan fee or whatever, and I think there's like 50% they get Madrid of the deal. So, but I think that's only on a transfer fee and not on loans. So they give Como 20 million loan, and then they go back in the next summer and they have an obligation to buy him at 40 million. So all in all, it costs 60, and Como still got 40. That's probably something they might accept, because then instead of just going in now and going, we're going to pay you 60, and they only get 30 of it. That's one way around this. I could see them possibly doing it. The Spurs, that they accept it because they think they're being helped out by Tottenham. So at 60 million, I think it's much more than that. I don't see a world where Tottenham would go anywhere near it, to be honest.
Sure. I think for me, like at the moment, the fan base is absolutely in lots of disarray, is the word. And to unite the fan base and unite, everything, and kick on in this season of such a great start, you have to put your money where your mouth is. And we know this ownership doesn't do that to an extent, but I mean, mate, if we're saying we can't sign Paz and Savinho after the underwhelming window we've had so far, I don't agree. I just think they got to do it. Savinho, 70 million, bang. Nico Paz, 40 million, bang. 110 million. They lined up Eze for 60 something. They lined up Gibbs White for 60, whatever it was. Reach out, put in another 40, put in a 40 million pound as an investment. Levy loves an investment, because Nico Paz would be an investment. Get them both for me. Get them both, and then suddenly there's no argument that the board hasn't backed the manager. Right, because then you have Palhinha, an experienced body who's already performing exceptionally well, and is an absolute, brilliant player already at this club, and an important player. You've got Kudus, who is a very, very important player, right? You've got Takai, we're not sure what to make of him. You then get in Savinho, you're like, okay, decent, and then you get Paz, who could potentially be one that has a very high ceiling. And then suddenly you've united the. I think I've forgotten one more signing, but then you've united the fan base, and it's crazy how we're 7 days away. Like, I'm not gonna rant just yet, but this time next week is Judgment Day, pretty much. So yeah, let's see what happens. Kanous is extremely high levels of dribbling, so he's in a hype. Simon saying Levy will let us down. A1 Synergy saying Madrid buyback being 9 million euros next summer is absurd. Presume he's promised the spot next year. Seems too good a deal for Madrid to let slip. I don't know, guys. What, I guess, engagement piece for you. 110 watching in the chat. Please make sure you're smashing the like button and smashing the subscribe and turning the post noties on. All 3 are free to do so. Sub, like, and post noties on. And if you want to support the channel in any way, keep Frank and I going and support us. Help us upgrade our mics, help us upgrade our cameras. There is the super chat option down below if you are enjoying the channel. We're trying to bring you daily content. We're trying to churn it out for you guys, give you all the stats, all the latest, all the tactics, all the vlogs. Please, please, please do put the super chats in if you do want to create a talking point and support the channel. And the membership option is also available, £2 a month. And you can come on any single show, by the way. If you want to come on this panel now, if you become a member, I'll send you the link on social media or on YouTube or however it will. I think it would be Twitter. And you can come on and have your say. So there's those options. So I really appreciate it. If you can't support him financially, please do just smash the like, smash the subscribe, and comment below, as well as turning on the post noties. But we are going to mix things up. Talking about transfers now. Just a quick stat there that's pretty good, impressive. Thomas Frank's only one of 3 managers now to have beaten Pep Guardiola in the league with 2 different sides. Very, very good. With Brentford, obviously, he won 2-1. Ivan Toney scoring in 2022, I believe it was. And now, of course, great win at the Etihad, 2-0 yesterday. Sorry, what? So what's happened at the graphic there, Frank? It's like someone's popping out at the bottom of our screen there.
It's supposed to be Thomas Frank, but I thought it was included, to be honest. I've messed that up myself.
That's what's going on. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty impressive stat. Pep Guardiola has most losses against Liverpool and now Tottenham joint with 10. We really are his voodoo. We really are his bogey team. We love to see it. Breakdown of the game yesterday. You can see that City dominated possession, but expected goals were very even, to be honest. Total shots, Spurs edged slightly and had one more shot on target. But all in all, Frank, we were just more clinical, really. We were just more clinical on the day, more professional. A bit of a quick quote from Thomas Frank. He's saying, on the team keeping 2 clean sheets in a row, it's a big thing we've been working on, not on clean sheets, as that's easier said than done. But on the defensive side of the game, high pressure, middle block, low block, defend the box, mentality, blocking shots, everything. Because if you get clean sheets, you're closer to winning a game. And I also don't know how true this is, but I know that Brennan potentially, I don't want to say for sure, but I heard that Brennan Johnson said something about it's nice that the manager pays more attention to the defense. Is that right, Frank? He said something like that.
He said that Thomas Frank has, I think, and I want to say, I quote, has respect for defending.
Yeah. Which,
as much as he likes, I'm sure he liked Ange as a bloke, it felt like a sly dig at the style. Yeah, I mean the choice of words was quite interesting.
Okay. Interesting. I thought Brennan Johnson loved Ange. Anyway, interesting caption. This could be a double meaning, right, Frank? Double meaning here.
I really hope so.
Bring me your favourite winger. I think I saw it might have been your tweet, Frank, or your post. I can't remember, but bring me your favourite winger. Spence put on Instagram. The fact that obviously he's pocketing wingers, but also maybe, bring us Savinho, maybe. What do you reckon?
It would be nice. I mean, I imagine he has absolutely no intel at all. But it would be, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they did get him, and then they announced it in a nice way or something by having them go and knock on a door and Spence opens it up for Savinho or something. I mean, maybe Spurs should get me in charge of the media team because I think that would absolutely bang on Twitter. By them bringing him his favourite winger. But yeah, I mean, I'd love it to be a double meaning. I highly doubt it was, but no, I'd love it to be.
Yeah, we can have some wishful thinking with it, though, can't we? We can have some wishful thinking with it. And yeah, that's about it in terms of the slides we have to show you. We are going to do a quick 10-15 minute tactical breakdown. If you guys do enjoy the tactical breakdowns, please let us know. In fact, I know I like doing an engagement piece. If you don't mind, smashing a 1 if you like the tactics pieces that Frank and I put up on screen, or maybe 2 if you just prefer the transfer news. I'd just be interested to know, based on the audience. We're trying to bring you different content, not just transfer updates and stuff like that. So if you like the tactical stuff, please put a 1 because we're going to sort of break down little bits from yesterday's game, which I hope you will find interesting. Abdul Rahman saying, I only like the transfers. Okay, fair enough. It's not for everyone. But anyway, if you want to stick around and watch the tactical stuff, please do so. But if you don't and you're going, please make sure you're smashing a like before you do pop off the video. But Frank, it's interesting game yesterday. Very interesting game. Very, very thorough, very professional. We looked like we set up so well. You got a few points to make about how we sort of played, how we utilised Johnson, how we utilised Kudus yesterday, and how important that Bentancur and Palhinha midfield partnership was, as well as, of course, how the fullbacks played.
Yeah, so we'll kind of start with, obviously you've got the two lineups there. First thing I think is worth noting is this midfield triangle. Obviously we all know how excellent they were. Paquetá got TNT's man of the match, and Paulinho got Tottenham's fan voted man of the match this morning as well. Bentancur probably unlucky to miss out on either one of those, because I thought he was absolutely excellent as well and deserves his flowers. But first of all, the role of Paulinho is so important, right? You've got someone that sits. You've got someone that sits and doesn't actually do a lot with the ball, and that's fine. That's I was probably a little bit against Paulinho because of that. But once you kind of flip it the other way around, it gives the freedom to others. It allows Porro to get on the ball, which it did. It allows Bentancur and Sarr to get on the ball, which it did. It really makes you realise that like this was so needed. This was so necessary. This idea of a six. So Paulinho, 1 second.
Oh,
am I gone? Am I still here?
You're here.
I can't. My whole screen is frozen. You might have to take over for me for a second. 1 second.
Okay. Carnage. There's always a technical hiccup. What we'll do is we'll get a little opinion piece going until Frank's back, which is absolutely no stress whatsoever. On this lineup, what would you change based on what we currently have? So obviously, seeing as if we were suddenly going to get in Kudus, if obviously we're going Kudus, but if we were going to get in Paqueta, if we were going to get in Savinho, what would you change in this lineup? Do you think Bentancur is a more adequate midfielder than Paulinho? Do you think Paulinho and Bentancur work well together? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've also just seen interesting one, slightly off topic, that apparently Man City have agreed terms with PSG, for Donnarumma. Interesting off the back of that absolute stinker from James Trafford yesterday. So interesting one. But apparently Spurs are trying to improve the Savinho bid. So we'll see how long that takes. We'll see if that is a likely update. Christian's in here says, on stats, Harvey Elliott would be a better signing than El Canus, Rogers, and Paz. Wow. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below on that one. Christian, Harvey Elliott. We should get up Harvey Elliott's stats, shouldn't we, really? We should be getting in Harvey Elliott's stats. Danny's saying Savinho is just not happening. Love looking at profile pictures, by the way. Love the dog. Do you know what? We have to believe that one big signing is coming in before the end of the window, surely. Surely it's Savinho. Surely it's Paz. Like one, at least one. Because for me, Paulinho, Kudus, Takai is an average window at the moment. If you get in more, then you can start to say it's above a 6. But at the moment, for me, I tell you what. While we're waiting for Frank, at the moment, if we were to make no more signings, absolutely no more signings, what are you rating the window? Because for me, at the moment, it's not above a 5 or a 6, maybe a push. Kudus is great. Paulinho's great. But for me, I don't know, guys. I think we are lacking a left winger. We're lacking a 10. We're lacking that attacking quality up front, especially in terms of depth. I would be very, very concerned if we only had Kudus that have Tell obviously on a permanent. That's up for debate as well. Danzo on a permanent, good signing, but we already had him in, didn't we? So technically, externally, we've only got Kota Takai, Matthias Tell's already here, Kudus, Paulinho, and then that is it, right? Unless I'm forgetting someone. Takai, Paulinho, and Kudus. Externally. Tell on a permanent, Danzo on a permanent. Vuskovic coming in but we'd already signed him. For me, this is not a good window at the moment. Harvey Elliott is a good shout. Just think he's a bit of a he's a bit of one of them. Danny saying cheers. Savinho is for left wing. Why are people putting him on the right? Yeah, mate, that's I can't even put the slide on because Frank's in the background. But that piece about Savinho being on the right was wrong. He's a more of a left winger. Frank's back. Rogers is the exact same cam we need. He's a ball carrier and a good finisher, but I do like Paqueta as well. If only we had owners to get both. Yeah, I completely agree. I just asked the chat what they think out of 10 for the window at the moment. And I think for me, Frank, it's about 5. Because externally, you've got Kudus, great signing. You've got Takai. We're not sure how good he's going to be, and he's injured. And Palhinha, great signing. But for me, until you can get it above a 6 or a 5, you need a left winger or a 10 or both, and arguably a left centre back, left back mould. Until that point, I can't rate it more than a 5 or 6, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree. I'd probably say a 4 or 5 would be my. Sorry, one sec. I put my computer, my laptop's decided.
No worries. You focus on that. It's all
good. It's all good.
Market analysis, ZAR saying I can see us getting at least 2 more signings. A1 Synergy saying 3 to 4, 2 to 3 more players needed, and real lack of outgoings. Yeah, this is a great point. What's happening with Basuma? What's happening with Manos Solomon? What's happening with other players? You know, Odebert. Is he going out on loan? Are we selling him for 25 million euros to Roma? Are we cutting our losses there? What's going on? Basuma and Solomon, for me, have to be sold or sorted by next week. For me, I think you have to sell them both to be able to get some funds, to be able to then make the 2 new signings. For me, I don't think it should hinge on that. But I think in terms of squad space and everything else, sell Solomon, give him to Leeds for 20 mil. Done. Bang, go. And get rid of Basuma. He's clearly not in the mix. Thomas Frank's already fallen out with him. He's not taking him to the Super Cup. Get rid of him. Danny's saying, what about Buck Rogers? Rogers' stats are poor, says Christian. And Alex Dennison is saying, I defo sell Odebert for 25 million euros. Interesting one on Odebert. I really do think that's an interesting one. A1 Synergy saying Brian Hill. Yeah, what's happening with him? What's happening with Brian Hill? He's still in the club. What's going on there? Great point. Guys, there's 120 of you in the chat. I really appreciate all the support. We are going to be going live every single day. We are going to be bringing you guys content every single day. Whether it's a live or a video, we're never 100% sure. So make sure you're turning on the notification bell. Free to do so, by the way. I'm not asking you to pay anything. So you never miss us going live. You never miss a video. So I'd really appreciate when you're going down and you're pressing like, you press the notification bell next to it on the right-hand side. So you never miss that. When we go live or do whatever, we will be able to get you guys in. And we love the community here. Like, we're building so many regulars. I love seeing all the familiar faces, even new faces like Alex. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Alex. I don't think I've seen you today. Bringing in your comments. In Spurs We Trust, bringing in the comments. Brian Hill, Basuma and Solomon should be leaving by the end of the window. Christian saying would help a lot if players didn't get injured as soon as they returned. And A1 Synergy saying at least 3 players surplus to requirements and can't even seem to get an offer in for any. What's Tell's preferred position? You tell me, mate. You tell me. You will tell me. Anyway, let's go. And my screen is lagging. Is it, Frank? Is my screen lagging, guys?
You're right again now. It was a minute ago. It might be me.
Okay.
But...
Anyway, we're having technical issues, but that's what we do. Like, we just get on with it. We get on with it. Frank, if you want to share your screen, do a bit of tactics for a few minutes, and then we'll get the opinion in the chat, and then we'll move on.
Cool. So as I was saying before my Wi-Fi rudely cut out, Palhinha is so vital, right? He's allowing Porro to get more time on the ball. He's allowing Bentancur more freedom, which gives the front 3 more freedom, right? And that's the very simple way of putting it. So what we saw quite often is Palhinha is the tackler, very, very evidently, right? As we kind of thought, Bentancur next to him is the passer. Bentancur is the one that drops in and actually gets in with the centre halves and picks up the ball, turns, plays it, right? Palhinha is the one that if he wins it back, he'll give it sideways to those who are better than him on the ball. Fine. And he works his role. He's worked his role out really well. Obviously, Porro's pushing up. He got into this area sort of a lot yesterday. I thought he was brilliant yesterday, Porro. Burnley, I was a little bit unsure if he had a great game. I didn't think he was brilliant, but yesterday, excellent. Got into this area a lot. His crossing was deadly yesterday, as he often can be deadly. I thought yesterday he was absolutely excellent. Palhinha, as I say, very important in winning the ball back. We now have that stability. I mean, his block around here yesterday, along with Mickey van der Ven's in a similar sort of area, by the way, immense, unbelievable. Defensively, the guy is superb. That's certainly been a really important deal. In terms of sort of pushing up as well, and this now gives a load of freedom to Paquetá. Last year, he had a mix of Basuma behind him, Bentancur behind him, in an already open system, by the way. Wing backs that were all over the place and inverted wing backs, all this sort of nonsense. And so there was never any cover. And so if he was up here, he was often out of position. But now he has free roam of this, pretty much the whole pitch, right? We've seen that he can keep going. He can keep running. He's an absolute machine. So let him be that. Let him. And Thomas Frank's really keen on playing to people's strengths, and they're playing into Paquetá's strengths right now, and it's working. It's working like a treat. So brilliant, right? Paquetá is getting on the ball more. He's picking up in these areas here, and he's able to find Johnson, Richarlison, Kudus, and he's obviously got Porro pushing up as well into these areas here. In terms of Porro, just quickly as well, unbelievable at helping Tottenham get out of trouble. Like Bentancur, like I say, getting the ball out, he's brilliant at it. Often going over the top to Richarlison, to Johnson, down the line to Kudus. Often he got into this area a couple of times and looked sort of. I think it was him that put the ball over the top, and Sarr kind of ran through and just missed the header as well. So some really interesting sort of ways that Porro is now getting into the game, as I kind of thought he would. Hence why he's in my fantasy team, because I think he's going to contribute a lot attacking wise this season. That in terms of playing out and getting out from the back, brilliant. We keep seeing Vicario play these balls out, these little dinked balls out into Spence and Pedro Porro. That's something that's been evident from sort of day one in those first friendlies. Kinski probably slightly better at it, just because he's more comfortable on the ball. He's practically Pirlo with gloves. Vicario maybe a little bit weaker at that, but right now he's that number one for a reason. But he's very good at that, very good at playing those balls out, and they allow you to get out. They allow you to get out at speed, right? So Porro's getting out. This option, the triangles, so crucial, right? We said about a lot over the summer when we were kind of analysing what Thomas Frank was going to be, how was he going to set up. We said about these triangles. If you're being pressed, right, Haaland's in here as well. So often, because Kudus is coming back as well, right? Bentancur is wanting to pick up the ball, wanting to turn, wanting to find Kudus and whatever, and same with Porro. So we saw it a few times. Some of the little bits of play out, utterly superb, right? Some of their football was amazing. That's largely the foundations of that probably built by Ange, but now they're being built upon by Thomas Frank, and that's very exciting. So a lot of the football in playing out, brilliant, right? Big fan of a lot of our playing out. The best part of yesterday, though, for me, was probably our press. That was immense. Obviously, there was a few times in the first sort of little while where Richarlison got quite close to the goalkeeper. Trafford, they managed to clear out. But listen, you can have a go at Trafford as much as you kind of want. But what we did for that goal was superb, right? Centre-back split. Gonzalez drops in. Paquetá constantly on him, right? You could argue that Trafford shouldn't be playing that ball. I totally agree, right? But unless he goes long, Trafford had zero other options, right? He should have gone long, fine. But the fact that he had zero other options is brought on by Tottenham's press, right? Richarlison is in this sort of area here. Kudus is down here. Sarr obviously gets inside. You got Palhinha and Bentancur so high as well, same as that back line. So that high line that we had under Ange, that's not gone away. Maybe they've sat a little bit deeper at times, but they're still pressing with intent, right? Just because you're playing slightly more defensively and slightly more pragmatically away at Manchester City, they're still playing with intent. They're playing to win a game, right? And we saw that with Sarr. Sarr picks up that ball brilliantly, obviously falls to Richarlison. It doesn't work out. Ball comes to Palhinha. He smashed into the back of the net. We go 2-up before half time. And that is largely because of their press. But what amazed me in the second half, first of all, Palhinha, there was one point just quickly as well in that first half where the press that he went on, running all the way sort of up here, and within seconds he's back. He's back, right? For a guy who as a holding midfielder, we say he's just going to stay in that role. His pressing's unbelievable, right? And that's another thing that Frank obviously wanted, someone that can run, another runner. You've got a midfield three plus Bergvall as well. and Gray, actually, I include him in that, of 5 runners, 5 guys that want to just keep going. They're serious athletes, and that's important because that makes you impossible to beat at times because then you've just got constant energy. And another thing I kind of noticed as well is Van de Ven went on a couple of sort of little marauding runs into this sort of area here, and there was a time in I think the second half where Trafford gets the ball and he goes to play it out, and Mickey Van de Ven is here, like. Paulinho sort of slots in, or Bentancur slotted in. I can't remember which one it was. One of them sort of in this area. Mickey Van de Ven's the furthest player forward.
That's nuts, isn't it? That just
it was insane. I wish I had the screenshot of it. Like it.
Gone.
I was going to say, I wish I had the screenshot of it. It was some point in the second half, but it was immense. Like they don't stop, and this running is being drilled into them, and so the press was like seriously good.
Just quickly before you carry on, Frank, I just want to do a little engagement piece. There's still like 100 or so watching. Guys, let us know who your man of the match was yesterday, because for me it was really hard to choose the man of the match. I thought Paulinho was great. I thought Kudus was great. I thought Spence was great. Richarlison did well. Van de Ven made an important block. Like all of these players, so good. So I just think, let us know in the comments below. Also, before I forget, Alex Dennison, you said, yes, I am new here, bud. Thinking of starting a Spurs YouTube channel. You should, mate. It's good fun. It is good fun. I love doing this every day. Myself would love to get on with you guys. And actually, you can get on with us. As I said, it's a new feature. I need to update the terms. But basically, if you're watching and you want to become a Spurs-related member, I think we have 2 members at the moment. You can become a Spurs-related member down below in the description for £2 per month. And Alex, you can then come on and join us at any time. So that's part of the perks of becoming a member. You get priority in the chat, but also you can come on, have your say after matches, before matches, whenever you want, really. If it fits in with the show, we prioritize members coming on the channel. So let me know if you want to become a member, as well as other people that want to come and join the chat. A1 Synergy said I'd go for Pape. Paulinho was a close second. For me, I think Paulinho just edged it, but I think the TV guys, broadcasters gave it to Pape Sarr, which is fair enough. Fair enough at all, completely. Drew Bargain saying bargain. Yeah, £2 to come on this channel. Like, guys, I'm not going to say to anyone they need to do it, but if you want to come on, like, and have your say, there is the membership option. It's in the description. Let me know if it doesn't work, but it should do. If you click on it, you go straight to paying out £2 for a membership. Christian said, agreed. A lot of candidates, but have to give it for Paulinho. Sarr's going to be our player of the season. Very much could be. I remember Van de Ven pressing right up to the keeper was insane. And A1 essentially said, I get what you mean with the FFP stuff. Just don't see them wanting to get rid of debatably their best player. Alex saying everyone had a good game. Even Bentancur getting overlooked, though, in my opinion. Yeah, Bentancur had a great game. Frank, that's kind of what you're explaining here. Like, Paulinho, I'm surprised how much Paulinho runs. I don't know how to explain it. Like he was making lots of pressing runs, to try and get the ball back, quite high up. And I think him and Bentancur make us just look so much more solid together.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just looking at. I know that FootMob have a new running stats feature, and I want to try and see if I can find it. I'll have a look at that in a second. But I want to see how much Paulinho was running, because, as you say, he doesn't stop either. And yet he's always in this area, right? There was one bit that really stuck out to me in the second half, and why we needed him, and what the impact that he's having. Bernardo Silva, I think it was, gets on the ball, right? I think Paulinho lost the ball. I think he misplaced a pass or whatever. Bernardo Silva gets on the ball. He goes inside. Paulinho nails him in a tackle, right? Picks it up, wins it, and plays it out to Brennan Johnson. Brilliant. That is what a 6 does, right? That's what a good 6 does. As a destroyer, I would argue there ain't a better one in the Premier League than him. We saw he was brilliant at Fulham, and he's playing that role now, like, unbelievably well at the start. He was brilliant at PSG, and I thought absolutely brilliant. I thought he was very good when he came against Burnley, actually, at controlling the game, and brilliant again yesterday. I mean, that's obviously really important. Another thing I kind of want to pick up on is the wingers, and the fact that at times when we're sort of defending, and don't get me wrong, I don't think we played a low block yesterday by any means, but there were times when we had to sit in, right? You're playing one of the best teams in the country and in the world subsequently, so you've got to sit in at times. And Kudus and Johnson, constantly, mainly Kudus, but the Johnson as well. And I'll give him his flowers for this. It was something that he didn't really do enough under Ange, and probably was a frustration, but he's doing very well now. They're doubling up on these wingers, right? So that first half, Mamouche had a little bit of luck against Pedro Porro on his own. He kept going at him. Second half, Kudus was there, right? Doku had very little to no luck. Apart from that one little run where he put one across and Van der Ven blocked it, Doku had very little luck against these two, right? They were both superb in that second half. As I say, Porro against Mamouche was a little bit done at times. Once Kudus came back, superb.
Sorry, mate. You spot. I forgot to mention Porro, because for me, Porro was probably man of the match second half. I thought he was exceptional second half, like the way he was absolutely battling, like you said, against Doku, but winning pretty much every duel, but also still bombing it down the right hand side, long into like the 80th minute. Yeah. And I'm thinking this guy's got an engine on him as well, Porro. So yeah, really, really impressed with him yesterday as well.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, as you say, that there was a bit right at the end where he literally just charged with the ball and he kept going and going and going. He was really unlucky not to probably have an assist where he played the ball around the corner, and Pape Sarr, as I say, just went for a header and it just bounced over his head. Yeah. But as I say, this side as well, Spence is a little bit more of a capable defender than Porro, so probably requires a little bit less. But yeah, that was defensively superb, and then just general movement was immense as well, right? This is a group of intelligent players. This is a group of good footballers, right? Yeah. But there was something in that first half where they're pushing up. I think the ball was with Jed Spence at the time. I want to say it was Spence that played it, right? That City are playing their normal game, whatever. Ball comes out to Jed Spence. Instantly, Pape Sarr makes this run inside, right? I think Nathan Ake was on the pitch at this point. They shuffle over. And then instantly, Kudus had this space. Like, he had it a few times, where he had unbelievable amounts of space on this side. And Jed played, I think, a left-footed ball, and it just sort of was too much on it. And then about 2 minutes later, I think it might have been Jed again, but he's right foot this time, bang, straight out to him, and they go. And Pape Sarr's movement inside, superb. I mean, the movement for the first goal, Sarr obviously won the flick on. Richarlison, his movement was fantastic. Thought he was offside at first. He obviously did really well, and it wasn't. So let me just pull these guys up a little bit, just to kind of show what I mean. That Sarr ball comes out to Pape Sarr, he flicks it on, and Richarlison goes right. It's brilliant. And Johnson's movement as well. The cross from Richarlison was a little bit behind him. Not awful, but enough that Johnson probably had to adjust his body, which, as I say, he does very well. It's what he's very good at. And the finish was immense. And then for that second goal as well, as I say, the press was so good that Trafford only had two options, and that was Gonzalez, where he went and he lost the ball, or going long, which he probably should have done. But thankfully for us, he didn't. And because of those two bits of brilliant play from Pape Sarr, some great bits of movement and pressing from Richarlison and Kudus and Johnson as well, Spurs won that game. So a lot to be excited about.
100%, mate. 100%. Really, really well broken down. Really well broken down. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the little tactical bit from Frank. And I've actually got one more thing to share, literally for 10 seconds. And that is one thing I want to bring up, which is I don't want to hear any more excuses about the fact that, we haven't got the money to spend and we need to be careful. And, if we get Savinho, we're not going to get anyone else. We can only get one of these players. No, just look at this, right? This is this season. We've spent 145 million euros and we've got rid of outwards 35 million. Sorry, hang on. What? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why aren't we selling more players, Frank? I just find it baffling how we can say we don't have money to spend, but we haven't sold some of the dead wood. Solomon, Basuma, they're not part of the plans. Get them gone. Get 20 million for both. Then suddenly you've got 40 more million to put down on Paz. Surely that happens. But anyway, that's a sort of final thought, guys. Really appreciate. Go on.
So I think the main issue is there has to be demand, right? There's got to be people that want these guys. I'm surprised there isn't for Basuma. I'd be very surprised if Basuma isn't gone in the next week. I just think that someone, like Fenerbahce, have been linked to whatever. I think someone will take him. Solomon obviously has an injury record that is a bit of a worry. So if you're going to go and pay a lot of money for him, his goals record and stuff in the Championship was superb. But there are worries with Manuel Solomon. I mean, you could argue as well that he obviously had his Instagram, I think, taken down and things, didn't he? And I know he got in a little bit of trouble for making political comments last year as well. So maybe there's a bit of a worry with taking a Solomon. I know that Gill's just come off the back of an ACL injury, so demand's probably very low. And so I guess the kind of major concern with the lot is that demand is probably just at a low for these guys, and that's probably because of Ange. Maybe not with Solomon and Gil, a little, but the likes of Basuma, because he was hung out to dry in this system, his value just depreciated, and it kept going down and down and down and down, and his stock and everything is at probably an all-time low. So it's tough to sell these guys. I think they've got to find a way. There's got to be someone out there that will take these guys. But listen, it's very hard to probably sell these guys if they're on a contract. I'm not backing up Daniel Levy, but it's probably very hard to sell these guys if they're on these contracts. And but it's something that Tottenham have to improve at, because every other club seems to do it amazingly well.
100%, mate. Like you said, yeah, exactly. Chelsea can sell these players on. Man City do it often. We need to get better at our selling game, as well as buying some players. We are 7 days away from transfer deadline day, maybe 8. A week Monday. Guys, we need to make some signings. I'm getting agitated, but I'm giving it a few more days till I start to really ramp up my voice on here and really get frustrated. But I hope the 100 or so of you still watching did enjoy the video. Please, before you click off, do me 4 massive favors. It's so quick. Like the stream. We're only on 65 likes. Let's get up to 100. If you're watching a repeat, do the same. Please, please, please subscribe. We're 30 away from 4K now. It'd be great to get to that milestone by the end of next week. Please also turn your notification bells on down below so you never miss us going live. We're going live or doing a video every single day. So turn your noties on. And I also want to start seeing in the comments on the offline videos that Frank and I do, notification squad. Because if you got your noties on, you should be first to comment. Maybe we get a battle of who's going to be first. And as well as that, if you do want to support the channel in any way, shape or form, please pop in your super chats and the membership option if you do want to come and join us live on some shows. The only other thing I'd like you to all please do, and this is Frank's channel that he's trying to grow as well, is go and subscribe to THFC_Frank. I'm going to put his link in the description now into the comments. It's going in there. Please, please, please. He's got 215 subs. Let's get him to 250 subs, please, guys. He's going to be posting more tactical breakdowns, more analysis, more shorts on there. So please do go and check out Frank's channel as well as liking, subscribing, and turning on the notification bells to this channel. If you're watching a repeat, you're also a legend. Guys, we'll see you very soon. Thanks for all the comments. Big shout out to A1 Synergy, Christian, Alex, Drew, and all the people that were in earlier as well. The likes of In Spurs We Trust, Market Analysis, Danny with his great dog. A1 Synergy already got it. Simon Cohen's always in here. John Fitzsimmons is always in here. All those guys. Ayanami's back. Roy Park. Abdul Rahman, Luke, love you guys commenting. Really appreciate all the support. Make sure you're doing all the things I just said, and we'll do another video for you guys or live stream tomorrow, similar time. Remember, like, comment, noties on, and as always, guys, remember, come on, you Spurs, get some signings done. COYS.